All right, well, there's lots more to come here on the Night Beat. State lawmakers have said they're not happy with the results of this year's STAR test.
So what are they doing to fix the problem? The latest from Austin. Plus, there are some places Border Patrol agents can't go, but those criminals aren't following the same rules.
What new legislation could make it a lot easier for them to catch the bad guys? And this picture definitely speaks 1,000 words or 1,000 tattoos.
Yeah, now this man is behind bars. We'll tell you why coming up after sports.
It's when maybe gotten a little too far.
I think so.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Also to come on the Night Beat, controlled burns taking place all over South Texas at a time when fears of wildfires are on everybody's mind. Why these burns are actually good for the environment.
Plus, earlier we told you about the mayor's plan to use sales tax money to build an early education center, a couple of them actually. Right after the break, what you have to say about the mayor's plan.
And coming up on the Night Beat, we'll tell you how this empty stadium on the east side could be the home to some future Olympians.
The mayor calls it the Brain Power Initiative, raising taxes to improve early education across San Antonio. If the city council gives its okay, voters will decide in November if they want to raise sales tax 1/8 of a cent to fund pre-K classes. 20,000 four-year-olds would benefit from the initiative. And Mayor Castro says it is vital for the city's future.
So many of them aren't able to live out their American dream because they don't get the education that they need. There are a lot of ways that we could tackle that, but the research is very compelling that the best place to start is very early.
So here's what some of you have to say about the initiative on our Facebook page. Anissa Snyder writes, quote, when teachers start teaching the whole curriculum instead of teaching to pass a test, then I might be for this, end quote. Jen Davis wrote, quote, it's not a good idea taking more money from the people when parents should pay for early learning. It's a choice, not a requirement, end quote. And Leah Black has a different point of view. She wrote, quote, children are the future. The city should do whatever it takes to provide for their education, end quote. You can let us know what you think about this new initiative. Just head over to our KSAT 12 Facebook page.
A series of controlled burns are coming to the far west side to clear out some of the brush and dead undergrowth in the Canyon State Natural Area. Those prescribed burns are expected to begin this month and continue through January. Tonight, a meeting was held to let people who live in the area know what to expect while these fires are going on. Prescribed burns are just one of the tools that Parks and Wildlife Department uses to keep the area clear of natural fuels that could feed wildfires.
It's helping us to reduce dangerous fuel loads that would support a catastrophic wildfire, but it's also essential in maintaining the health of the landscape.
The prescribed burns are expected to be conducted as many as 2 or 3 days a week, but no schedule was announced. For more information on the burns or to find out when one has been scheduled, you can call that number on your screen, 688-9055.
Community leaders laying out their plans for upgrades to Elmendorf Lake Park on the city's west side. District 5 City Councilman David Medina wants his constituents to know about the planned improvements for the park and the surrounding area. It's part of the recently approved 2012 bond, along with the West Side Creeks restoration project.
We're going to be looking at additional trails. We're also looking at improvements to the playground facilities and some of the aquatic center.
The design phase beginning this summer will last about a year before construction begins. Several other public meetings are scheduled before that happens.
The latest now on 2 major stories we've been following for you. An 85-year-old man is dead after taking his own life at a doctor's office near downtown. It happened around 2 o'clock in the 300 block of Camden. Witnesses told us that the man took out a gun and pulled the trigger at the receptionist's desk. Initial reports indicated that he may have been upset over some sort of payment to the doctor. No one else was injured.
And a giant mulch fire we were following last night at this time has been declared extinguished after fire crews spent about 18 hours getting it out. It started at the New Earth Soil and Compost facility at I-10 and Foster about 9 o'clock last night. Investigators say the fire may have started in an electric grinder, but that is not the official cause. New Earth says the company is in compliance with the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality Standards.
Around Texas tonight, a grand jury has decided not to indict the father of a 5-year-old girl who allegedly killed the man who molested her. The June 9th beating death of the 47-year-old suspect happened in Shiner at the father's ranch. The father says he heard his daughter's screams and started hitting the suspect before calling 911. Authorities say forensic evidence and witness statements back up the father's account that his daughter was being sexually assaulted. And Texas lawmakers say there's a lot of work to be done when it comes to the state's new STAR test. Tonight, the House Public Education Committee spent hours scrutinizing the test, focusing on how poorly the state's 9th graders did on the first round. By 2016, 9th graders will have to pass the test in order to graduate. But the passing rate was only 41% in biology and 39% in algebra. The panel acknowledged these are common growing pains when implementing a new testing system.
On the Border Watch now, more than $3 million worth of marijuana seized by the Border Patrol over the weekend. The largest happened near Granjeño. That's when agents say they saw several people carrying large bundles. As they approached, the suspects dropped those bundles and fled. Inside was 1,000 pounds of marijuana. Another seizure happened near Roma, where agents say 5 people in a raft landed on a U.S. riverbank. When agents approached them, the men inside the boat swam back to the Mexico side of the river and abandoned about 450 pounds of drugs. That $3 million equals more than 2 tons of marijuana.
The House has approved a bill that'll make it easier for Border Patrol agents to do their job. The bill would let agents circumvent environmental laws on federally managed land within 100 miles of the border with Mexico and Canada. Supporters say the bill is needed to give agents better access to rugged lands controlled by the Interior Department. The bill would let agents drive vehicles over parts of land they previously couldn't. Sponsors of the bill say agents are obeying the law by staying off the land, but criminals are not. Well, 2 weeks after the 2012 Olympic Games end in London, the competition is far from over. Athletes from around the world will gather again in the city for the 2012 Paralympics. And a few athletes could be making the trek all the way from San Antonio. The night team's Charles Gonzalez has more on the wounded warriors who have served our country and now hope to represent it on the playing field. It's all new on the Night Beat.
Nick McCoy approaches his training just like any other athlete.
It's your will that gets you through it.
Because that's how he sees himself.
When I'm out here on the track, I don't necessarily think about anything I have to overcome.
Despite severe injuries, he and other wounded warriors at the Wheatley Heights complex have one goal in mind. Making the 2012 Paralympic team.
Oh, I love competing like this. I love the competition. I like the camaraderie again that you get.
When I went to my first event and I saw the competition, that there was actually athletes in chairs and disabilities and amputees, and I was like, wow, okay, I want to get to that level.
These athletes have spent countless hours practicing on brown grass or in front of this empty stadium, hoping to earn a trip to London where they'll perform in front of thousands. But getting a chance to showcase their skills is not what's driving them.
It'd be wearing the USA uniform again, which is something that I miss from being in the service for 18 years.
I get to wear a jersey that has the American flag on it, and to me that means everything. It's the world to me.
And just maybe inspire the next Paralympian.
A lot of veterans are out there at home that they don't know that you can come out here and compete.
There is no reason to say no, I can't.
Charles Gonzalez, KSAT 12 News.
Now, the U.S. Paralympic trials for track and field begin on June 29th in Indianapolis, where our local athletes will compete with over 250 other competitors for a spot on the national team.
President Obama says the economic stress in Europe is hurting America, and he's doing something about it near the end of the G20 summit in Mexico today. At least he tried to. The economy will most likely be what decides November's general election. Summit leaders failed to find a lasting solution to the European crisis. It's dragged down the U.S. stock market for more than a year and the 401k accounts of tens of millions of Americans.
We're all in the same boat together. We're not an island. The U.S. is not an island. We are in a global economy.
Now, the president of the European Commission blames the situation as originating in the U.S., pointing to the 2008 banking crisis that hit the global economy hard.
A Missouri homeless man is in jail for failing to register as a sex offender, but he's a little hard to miss. This guy's name is Michael Campbell, As you can see, his face, head, and most of his chest are covered in tattoos, including a nice bow tie right there on his neck. Campbell was convicted in 1994 of attempted sexual assault. Prosecutors say he'll be charged with a felony for failing to register.
Checking the weather outside, it was a windy one towards the evening hours.
Oh, yeah.
Kept hoping maybe some rain showers would blow in, Steve.
Yeah, they blew into our eastern counties, but we didn't get anything here of any consequence. We had a trace at the airport, and unfortunately, that's not going to help us too much. Now, we do have a chance tomorrow. We'll explore our odds, and for the next couple of days, straight ahead.
All right, thanks, Steve. Well, some are calling it an iPad killer, but does it have what it takes to dominate the tablet market? Still to come on the Nightbeat, more on the newly announced Surface tablet from Microsoft.
And a 16-year-old who survived the impossible, a 3-foot spear through his skull. Where he's at on the road to recovery, up next.
This military...
A Florida teen with a 3-foot spear through his skull is surprisingly on his way to recovery. The spear went in about 1 inch above his right eye and just kept on going. Doctors say the spear missed every major blood vessel and missed the portion of the brain that controls speech. The 16-year-old was shot accidentally while fishing earlier this month. He is expected to have some trouble using the left side of his body, but otherwise should make a full recovery.
It's another competitor to the iPad, but this one might actually have some legs. Microsoft entering the tablet world with the newly announced Surface. The main difference is that the Surface runs more like a PC with a full Windows operating system.
It's got some cool features. The cover flips over to become a keyboard, which is something I think a lot of hardcore users, emailer people, and are going to like.
The Surface will also feature a full line of Office products, such as Microsoft goes after the business crowd. The tablet will weigh less and be a little smaller than the iPad. It's expected to be released in the fall.
Well, we already showed you 5 local restaurants with perfect health scores, and here's 5 more to join the club. Metro Health has handed down perfect scores to these restaurants: Marble Slab on Highway 281, Fonda Latina on San Pedro, the IHOP on Southwest Loop 410, the Joe's Crab Shack on College Street on the Riverwalk, and the Rainforest Cafe on Crockett, also on the Riverwalk. Congrats on your perfect scores, and of course you can find restaurant report cards anytime on our website. Just go to KSAT.com.
Take a live look outside with CityCam. 81 degrees, and all in all, not a bad day.